Here, let me start this way. Welcome new channel members. There is a welcome video on the channel page. And then there's, all the videos I've done, and please feel free to look through them and comment on them. And I've got my suggestions, rules for the channel in the channel description. So I'm glad you're here, and thank you for coming, and I hope you do feel comfortable here and comment. Now, as to what I wanted to talk about today. You guys know, you crew, because you all are crew, you know that. You guys are crew members. That's what you decided you were going to call yourselves, and so that's how I'm going to address you. I did a recent, I think it might have been a live, called Channel Review. And I'm not one of those people who likes to go through, like, the analytics and everything, at least not on a regular basis. But I know my husband is. He's very analytical about his videos. He reviews them before he posts them. And yeah, ducks, animals, by the way, on homesteading channels, always have to get involved in videos. Hey, you guys, what? What noisy crowd. Come on. Spot there. Yes, Pastor Joe is very analytical, very critical of his performance. Make sure that what he puts out is a good product. I'm a little bit more flowing in how I do things. I'm not as concerned about appearances and stuff like that. And so I've seen in my past videos, my hair's messy. I may have something on my cheek. And I've learned that to be responsible, to be more cautious of how I put videos out. So in the review, I looked at my top viewed videos, and they're different. They're very, very, very different. I wrote down ideas for new videos based on videos that seem to get a good amount of views. And one of them was, how do you get God's blessings? Because I know my videos, I tend to be instructional and educational, not really entertaining. And sometimes the messages I have are a little bit gruff. They're all experience-based, of course. So I'm passing on my wisdom, but it's a lot of cautionary stuff. And so I wanted to give something that would be more lighthearted. Isn't it ironic that it's a cloudy day? And I forgot to bring my tripod, so I've got my phone propped up on a truck. But God's blessings are important, because when you're walking his path in this world, the world is nothing that you can relate to. I'm not going to say the world is quote unquote wrong, but the world is walking a different path, and your path is following the Father's will, and the world's path is following whatever, money, sports, pleasure. So knowing that you will earn, and I say earn because you have a part in it. You can't just sit there and be saying to yourself, and the blessings rain down on you. The Father does require things from us, and it's a covenant, and it's a deal. He says, if you do this thing, then I bless you. If you don't do this thing, I will not bless you. And sometimes if you do that wrong thing, he says he will curse you. So there's more than one level there. And then I typed into Google, God's blessings, Bible. And first thing that comes up is 20 Bible verses about God's blessings for you. And so I went through all of them. And most of them were New Testament, which I don't hate the New Testament. I'm just saying, to understand the blessings you're going to get in the New Testament, you have to know the root of where they're coming from the Old Testament. And isn't it ironic, there were only about 2 Old Testament quotes, and neither one of them covered the chapter that absolutely makes it clear what you do and what Father does for your blessings to come. It's chapter 28 in Deuteronomy, and you can just read it. I urge you to read it. I'm not going to read the whole chapter here. You have to see it with your own eyes. Go on, duck. But I will summarize it for you so you can get an idea of what you're going to read there. The very first couple of verses say, if you believe in me and keep my commandments, then these blessings will come. So many people want to quote the Bible and say, and these blessings will come, and just list the blessings without giving the conditions beforehand. That's why if you read the New Testament, and there's in Ephesians and I think wasn't Timothy, maybe Hebrews, John, James, there are verses that mention blessings, but that the whole thing there is you have to have the basis that Deuteronomy 28 is laying down for you. So if you have belief and you keep his commandments, he lists a whole chapter full of blessings. But he also has a whole chapter in there that if you don't keep his commandments, you get all these cursings. Cursings in your house, cursing on your animals, cursing on your increase, cursing on your land, etc. And so it's important to go into your relationship with God, understanding the agreement you are accepting. And it's not full enough, it's not the whole measure of that agreement if you only know half of it. And you depend on grace, and you look at his commandments like do unto others as you would have them do unto you, without the full knowledge of what that means. You're going to do unto others who don't care anything about you and are not going to bless you and help you. You're going to try to save people who are just going to use you and abuse you and ignore you. And that's not what the Father wants for you. So I'm telling you this, and people will say, well, that's just your understanding of it. Yes, it is my understanding of it. It's also written very plainly in the Word. And yes, you can misinterpret the Word if you don't have the foundation for it. But if you have the foundation for it, then you come to a conclusion that is the one the Father wants you to understand. And if you want bona fides, I was a literature major. I understand literature. I understand books, plots, chapters, characters, storylines, conclusions, introductions, all of that. But it also doesn't take that when you read the Bible. It just takes paying attention, thinking about it, and reading it. So I'll give you an example before I end the video. There was a sister who came to us who had very little biblical knowledge. She had heard the stories that a standard Christian church had taught her as a child, but she didn't understand the full story of the Bible at all. And so we started the Torah portion, and she was in on it. And every Torah portion, she came out of it saying, wow, I didn't know that. Is that really how that goes? So then if Esau and Jacob have this relationship starting out with Jacob's going to supplant him, and the father tells his mother that, and then she helps him carry that through, how does that relate to things coming later on? Yes, it's a mind-opening experience to get the foundation and then understand the fullness of all the stories and Yeshua's history and when he appears and what he's doing and why he tells people, I must be crucified. All of that and much, much more is explained in the Old Testament. And so I wanted to pass that on to you. If you want God's blessings, read chapter 28 in Deuteronomy and make your own conclusions. All right, y'all, bless you. I need to get at it. Shalom.